Okay, it's Bazza here with the legendary Nile Rodgers in Linlithgow, of all places. Niall, you played Glasgow earlier in the year, and I believe from one of my good friends that was at the gig that you were quite taken aback with the reaction of the Scottish fans on the night.
It was the most extraordinary thing I've ever heard. Um, the sound pressure level was probably somewhere close to the equivalent of Concorde taking off. It was extraordinary. I mean, our ears were ringing. It's amazing. I've never heard anything like that.
Wow. So you enjoyed the night then?
It was unbelievable. I mean, I had no idea that the fans would be that exuberant and that they'd be so appreciative of the set. I mean, it was extraordinary to me. You know, when whenever you do what we do, you just don't know what to expect. You don't know how people are going to react. And our set basically is my life in music. 4.5 years ago, I had a very, very serious cancer scare, and now I organize our show in such a way where it's a sort of linear musical journey of my life, and yeah, it's pretty emotional, but it's fun. You know, it's cool.
Well, congratulations, because I know you did beat the cancer, so.
Yeah, I don't like to be all that bold about it because cancer is a monster.
It certainly is. Yeah.
Just in the last few days, 4 of my closest friends came down with cancer like that. They had no idea. Even my handyman at home now is diagnosed with stage 4 stomach cancer, and they're not quite optimistic.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Niall, but in terms of just coming back to, obviously you've got your set shortly in Linlithgow. Is there anything you want to what can fans expect tonight? Is there any surprises in store?
I don't know. I mean, last night we did something that we normally don't do. Um, so you never expect what we're gonna do because what we try and do is, as a band, we treat the crowd almost as if we were DJs. We read the crowd, and then we move around songs to hopefully best affect the crowd. I mean, to make them, I mean, look, we're a dance band. We want to keep bodies on the dance floor. So, like last night, we dropped out something that we love, one of my favorite songs, but we wanted to keep the vibe up.
Yeah, cool.
And so, we change all the time. The cool thing about being a completely live band, which I'm starting to find out in today's world, is incredibly rare. We did iTunes Festival last year, and I was told that out of all of the dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of acts, there were only 2 completely live bands.
Wow.
Everybody was using Pro Tools rigs.
That's amazing, isn't it? I mean, it's
extraordinary to me because, I'm not critical of bands that do that. I actually, I understand why. But I think that what's happened is that we sort of don't believe the audience understands that a live show is a live show.
Completely.
And you don't have to the technical spectacle of things being perfect. I understand that certain artists do that very, very well. I get that. But we're a band, and it's about the quality of our musicianship. And if basically we're just pretending to play, but the quality of the musicianship is on tape, do you really have an affinity or a love or an affection for the thing that we've practiced to learn all of our lives? Or do you just like the fact that you can watch something cool and hear a bunch of hit records and great visuals and stuff?
Yeah. And you recently presented a festival in New York, the Folk Festival. What was the idea around that?
So the basic concept was to show that I'm not special and unique, and that most people, given the right circumstances, are gonna like music that they think they don't like. Case in point, when you look at the lineup Pharrell Williams, Duran Duran, Paloma Faith, Beck. Who else? I mean, it was huge. Ultra Nate, Thomas Gold, a lot of big
Keith
DJs.
Urban, was he there as well?
That's what I was getting to.
Diverse,
Keith Urban,
diverse.
everybody thought Keith Urban was the odd man out. If you look at any of the press, Keith Urban slayed the crowd. Something that normally people don't see me do, Keith Urban and I did a 15-minute guitar duel.
Wow.
Like, no one ever sees me play guitar like that. And then that was the thing. That was the moment that captured the night. And I would say that I don't like to rank things, but I've seen other people rank it, from Rolling Stone to whatever. And they said Keith Urban was number one and Janelle Monáe was a close number two right on his heels. So you went from Keith Urban, a guy who's had 21 hit singles in a row, to Janelle Monáe, who hasn't had any really big pop success, but just because she's an amazing live performer, blew the people away.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you've mentioned all these talented artists that were playing at the Fold Festival. Is there anyone left that you've not worked with that's on your hit list in terms of who you'd like to work
just the other day, I was in Sicily with Common and John Legend, and we were just talking because I like them both so much. And I said, John, I hope this isn't too much of a wacky idea, but I just wrote an R&B dance song that I think you would kill. And he said, nah, you know what's funny? I've actually been thinking about you. Send the song to me.
Yeah.
It may wind up being cool because he's such a balladeer.
Cool. I mean, I'm a huge INXS fan. I grew up out in Australia. Can I ask, have you got any lasting memories around Original Sin, which was obviously the first number one for INXS?
Look at how much fun we had. I mean, they, when I met them, it was love at first sight, very much like Duran Duran. We walked backstage, they were singing one of my obscure songs, and they had already arranged it in 4-part harmony, and I said to myself, boy, talk about making a great first impression. So I said I had to work with these guys, and in fact, it was the drummer in INXS that just sort of blew me away because I never heard a drum sound like that. And I was like, how did you get it? And I queried him all night, and he says, yeah, I got this wooden beater. And dance music, we want to have that bottom, but we want to have that top too. And I was like, wow, that's such a cool sound. And when we did Original Sin, I'm not sure if you know this, but the guys, they were nervous to work with me. They thought I was like some big super guy. And I was like, no, I'm just Nile. And they were very, very nervous. So I thought to myself, I got to figure out something to do to break the ice. So I picked up the guitar, I walked outside with the band. We were at Electric Lady, same place where I cut Daft Punk and cut my first CHIC record. And I walked out and said, hey guys, why don't we practice it? Why don't we just run it down? We practiced it, and of course I had told the engineer to record it. And that was the record. We never made it again. We never did it again.
Fantastic record as well. Last question, Niall. I believe there was a story around you leaving your famous Hitmaker guitar on a train somewhere. Is there any truth in that story?
Yeah, it was totally true. My life has been sort of preoccupied with dealing with cancer and people who have cancer because I started a blog talking about it. 4.5 years ago, I was diagnosed with extremely aggressive prostate cancer. And they really thought that I was going to die. I mean, it was that bad. 4.5 years later, I'm cancer-free, done a lot of great things. But what happened that particular day, I was on the phone talking to a friend of mine who I've known for years. And she finally told me the truth, that she had cancer years and years ago and never told anybody. And I was so engrossed in her story that I forgot that my guitar was over my head. And when I got to my station, I looked and I realized, and I ran off the train, and my, what I call my $1 billion guitar just took off and left without me.
Jeez.
And anyway, I used to be a former race car driver, and I went and I got this new experimental car that one of the big companies had given me, Toyota had given me, and I jumped in the car and I took off like a bat out of hell, broke every traffic violation in the world. And I got to the end of the line just a few minutes after the train pulled in, and lo and behold, my guitar was there.
Well, I'm very pleased that you got it back. Niall, I know you're on stage shortly, so I wanted to thank you very much for your time today. Appreciate that.
Nice to see you.
Thanks very much.